Hey, welcome back to another episode of What Elon Said. Today is May
Ninth.
9th,
Yep.
2022.
Monday.
Monday, back to another week. And of course, always a lot of activity. Today, we're talking about the hiring of engineers. We're talking about some interesting Tesla news in terms of performance and their report. And as well as we're going to talk a little about SpaceX, some retrospective there. So it's going to be some good stuff. So let's jump right into it. And what do we have here, Kevin? What's the
Yeah. Well,
first?
that cover there was just a like of I think it was King Arthur, maybe.
Oh,
And
yes.
statue there,
Yes.
but he gave that a like this morning. But yeah, let's get on to the real content.
Yeah, real content. So we have, first up, we have very cool that, for engineering grads coming out this year, the top choice is SpaceX, Tesla, and NASA. This is just all companies. You can see one is a government agency, all aspirational companies. You don't see the older school companies here anymore. So it's interesting. Lockheed Martin's number 4. That's where people used to go to first. Boeing, and even the tech companies in the Valley are moving down. Google,
Yeah.
Apple used to be number 1 forever, and now it's moving down. So interesting how things are changing.
Yeah, very interesting. I'd say that well, I think most people's experience is this way, that their first experience with Tesla is just seeing the car, right? And hearing about the car. But this is what initially piqued my interest regarding Tesla, was that I started to see these reports and hear these reports some years ago that it was a top destination for engineers coming out of school, like highly competitive, and really attracting the best talent. And at the time, yeah, I was a little confused as to why that was. It's obviously much clearer to me nowadays, but yeah, just great list here. Cool,
Yeah, it
cool
just
fact.
shows you the the uh, the new generation. Obviously, if they want to work there, I think that their professors also are encouraging them to go to that direction. So it's good.
Mhm. Yeah, just so it shows the as Elon said, they're hardcore engineering companies. That's what they are.
That's
And
right.
I think those that get a degree in engineering and are very hardcore about it, that's where they want to go. They want to be around those types of people. So.
And as opposed to a couple of years ago, just one other note is that you can see that Tesla's kind of raising up a lot of the aerospace and space exploration companies up here as well, with Lockheed and Northrop
Yeah,
Grumman.
yeah,
So good signs for the future. That's where we want our mental talent, not just making apps.
yep. Solving real
um,
world problems.
that's right. That's right.
So here we have Lex Friedman saying, "Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls." That's a quote from Joseph Campbell. And Elon responds, "How to find secret doors in Elden Ring." Given that it was over the weekend, maybe Elon was getting some gaming in, but that's where his
I
mind
think
went
so.
first. And then Ava Fox said, "Put this meme up here that says, if this taught me anything, it's that there's some sweet bonus items behind this wall, and it's just a
Yes.
concrete wall, cinder block wall, but certain shaded areas, it looks like a doorway was paved in or something." But yeah, to see
It's
the
awesome.
world through a character in a video game.
Yes, we've converted a deep thought from Joseph Campbell to video game secret
Yeah.
doors. Um, Here's a somber note that Japan, their population has fallen. So that's a big percentage, like by 640, half a million people over that. So it's, while it looks like it's not a lot compared to 125, it's just going to keep on piling up. And Elon responded that, at risk of stating the obvious, unless something changes to cause the birth rate to exceed the death rate, Japan will eventually cease to exist. This would be a great loss to the world. So this is true. I mean, they're one of the oldest countries in the world, and sort of like a harbinger warning for the rest of the world.
By
That
oldest, you mean like age wise population,
I think
right?
both the
Okay.
ancient,
Yeah.
but yes, but yes, they're their population is extremely old, and it's a very urban society. And when societies become urban, they have kids have switched from free
Yeah.
labor to expensive people,
Pets, right?
expensive
Is
pets.
that the
That's the
line?
line. So they so it's a big issue, and they're not the only one. China is actually worse right now than Japan,
Mhm.
and it's sad. We're not going to go into
Yeah.
all the countries this is happening, but it's a big issue that Elon is concerned about, and he feels this is a top three issue for humanity is
Yeah.
population
I mean,
decline.
he's reiterated it a lot, and it seems to be increasingly mentioned by him in recent
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
This is also on that note. This was from this morning. History Defined posted the Angel of Death, just a sculpture in Venice. And Elon says, not to be a buzzkill on this issue, but Venice itself is slowly dying due to very low birth rates.
Wow, this
So,
is on his mind.
yes, it really is. I mean, if you listen to interviews over the last decade or so, you can sort of hear it start to creep into his concerns because people always ask him. The interviewers always ask him, what are you worried about? What about the future concerns you? And where it's in the past been about AI, which I think it's still there, but also some of the other like manufacturing troubles that he was facing. Now it's broader in scale to still AI, but also birth rates.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. You always hear Venice that it might sink. His concern is the is birth rate. I mean,
Yeah,
it's. Do you think his concern for birth rate is that humanity will undergo tumultuous issues, or more so that his thoughts that older people and not having younger people will cause a dearth of new ideas and new creativity?
I think he's simply looking at the trends of birth rates and death rates and lifespans and saying this does not look good.
Yeah,
Now, I think in certain parts of the world, birth rates are growing, but for most first world countries, it's the opposite. And he's said that you just take birth rates times average lifespan, and you get the number of people that you'll have in the future, and that is on the decline year after year, and it seems to be getting worse. So, and it's also I think a misunderstood or misperceived problem where most people look around and go, "Oh my God, there's just so many people. You're on social media, you're walking around, there's traffic, everything seems like it's overpopulated." But in reality, the population is actually shrinking. So, and I think he just sees things from a very zoomed out perspective, and he may even be factoring in Mars and future civilizations. And he's like, look, if you want to continue to grow, then you have to grow the population. And he obviously wants to continue to grow and explore the stars, but you need people to do that. All right, so let's see what we got next here.
oh yeah, so here we have this ESG, this is the environmental investments that companies are doing,
Yeah,
and this has been
environmental,
a big
social,
push.
and governance.
That's right. So it's become a
Yes.
bigger push. But more and more, I'm starting to hear the drumbeat that it is a lot. It's causing a lot more harm than good in terms of finances and fake things being put in there. And Elon is definitely on this bandwagon. It's a lot of nonsense, and investments and all that have been put up in shady ways.
Mm,
And he's looking for a lot more transparency and the definition of what ESG investments are.
yeah.
Totally agree. This has caused a lot of trouble in different ways, even outside what Elon's saying. I've been hearing a lot more about uh, the mess we're in with gas and oil exploration in the U.S. Has been decimated over the last few years because of ESG, and we're unprepared for the shortage that we have right now.
Mm,
So it positions things that really aren't uh, bad for the
helpful.
environment. Yeah, helpful. Natural gas is much better than many alternatives, and it's been put up as a boogeyman. And there's just a lot of things that ESG is doing that are kind of ridiculous. They're counting trees
Yeah, I
that are
think
already on their property.
the issue is more that look, it's not just about words and reducing our negative impact. You should be doing positive things too, and transitioning your entire organization in that direction to be driving positive impact on the world.
That's right.
Um, and I don't know, maybe some of the metrics need to be evaluated as well, but um, it we have got to get away from um, ESG being the like what cool metric of the day, you know, and just people posting or companies posting that they're ESG friendly in any way that they possibly can. When it's to your point, like yeah, we planted 100 trees. Okay, well, what's that going to do for us ultimately if you're a gas company or something, you know?
Literally, they're some of them buying a forest that already exists and counting the trees to
Yeah,
count that as
yeah.
it's
Just
ridiculous.
it's reaching.
Yes, yes,
Um, so I don't know. I think Tesla's impact report is really a leader in this type of reporting, trying to show other companies how to do it.
absolutely. And that's the standard that should be there
Yeah,
of what, sort of the metrics that Tesla showed in that report are excellent in showing the true output and input of what the impact on the environment is.
right.
What's your true footprint?
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, well, on to lighter news. We have Mother's Day. May Musk is saying Happy Mother's Day to her daughter and all the mothers out there. And Elon gave a nice Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. So good to see some Mother's Day love there. We got some light news sprinkled in with some
Yes,
darker news up
serious,
and coming.
serious topics.
And this was just another photo of Elon's mom and sister. Um, that was also on note with the birth rates, where May Musk says my grandmother passed this down to us, this nightgown, and my grandmother gave it to my mother for wedding night, and she never wore it. Hence 5 kids. But yeah, just lighter news there before we get into some of the dire news here, which hit the headlines. This is mostly this morning, or did this happen yesterday evening?
This
But
happened yesterday.
okay.
Yeah.
Either way, we have what's his name? Dmitry Rogozin.
Yeah.
Um, he's the head of Roscosmos, I think, for Russia, and he says that Elon says that he sent this to Russian media, and this was initially in Russian, um, but it's basically a strongly worded statement about how Elon is essentially involving himself in the war here, and is taking sides and upsetting Russian authorities by providing Starlink to Ukraine, and basically, what says would you say that he's basically stating that this is like an act of war?
He is saying that Elon is an enemy of the Russian state and he is a war criminal in their eyes, and that he said, Elon, you will be held accountable like an adult. That was his threat, that
Yeah.
he will be held accountable no matter how much you play the fool. And then Elon was then had some joking comments saying the word Nazi does not mean what he seems to think it does. So that's the
Oh
Russian
yeah,
propaganda of
because
calling everyone knows that they're calling Ukrainians Nazis,
yeah.
and it seems to be working from the veil they have in Russia that's all the Russians see.
Mm.
And then Elon said, "If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you." So he's treating it lightly. Then I saw this morning his mother. I don't think we got a chance to put in here. His
Yeah,
mother
yeah. Well,
actually lectured him
here we
online.
have it here. Of course,
Oh, you do have it. Yes.
Niche Gamer steps in and says, "This is all seeming like it's in a movie, but also,
Yes.
LOL, the guy's account is protected, and if you want to follow him, you have to request to be followed in order to see his tweets." And Elon's saying here, seriously, how tough are you really if you can't even handle 280 characters of criticism? You know, like just
Oh
pointing
boy.
out just the absurdity of all this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Pointing out the
But
BS.
then
But yeah, May was saying that's not funny to say if I die under mysterious circumstances. She was not happy with her son taking this
no.
lightly, and Elon replied to her and said, "Sorry, I'll do my best to stay alive."
Yeah.
hmm But
Mhm.
yeah, even more ongoing this morning, Mr. Beast responded and said, "If that happens, can I have Twitter?" And Elon said, "Okay." And Elon also replied to the first statement there from Rosen that there are no angels in war.
Yeah. That's saying might get dirty.
Mm.
Interesting.
And then this I saw mixed in with everything. That's kind of I looked past at first, but really caught my eye when I did see it. Was this is Mohammed Al Mistahal or Et
I don't
Al
know.
Mistahal? I won't even try, but you won't die before your day, Elon. Anyhow, you are and were a unique figure in this world. I'm only wondering one thing. As a genius, haven't you found out that there is a great creator of this world yet? If you did, make sure you confess this before your last heartbeat. Bless you. And Elon says, "Thank you for the blessing, but I'm okay with going to hell, if that is indeed my destination, since the vast majority of all humans ever born will be there."
yeah.
That's some insight into Elon's brain. I thought that
Yeah.
was a big takeaway there. I look for
That
these
is a
little
big
crumbs
takeaway.
mixed in with all of the
Think
Twitter talk and
the Babylon Bee must be fuming.
mm, good point. Yes. Um, so I never felt like he really sided with them. I mean, they wanted to
No,
take credit for
he
it,
was
but
pushed.
he ultimately was like, I don't know. I mean, if you want
I
to
don't
say
know.
there's a God, then sure.
Go ahead. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. So here's he's just saying it is definitely an insight into his mind. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I do like the line though. If I'm going to hell, I'll see you all there.
Yeah, that's right. Because we're all sinners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, here. Oh, oh yes, this was interesting from Alex. As part of my Tesla investigation in 2013, guy got on board the right time.
Pretty early.
I looked into whether Elon Musk is an honest and transparent man by listening to all available interviews and firsthand information. I found that he is the most honest, transparent, and open entrepreneur I have ever heard of. And
Mm.
Elon liked this. He
Yeah.
appreciated the compliment.
What do you think about that? Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree from what I've heard, but not as many entrepreneurs give as many interviews as him. So I can't speak
Mm.
for all entrepreneurs, but he seems that way. I definitely feel that his heart is in the right place with everything.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people, as of course, when markets turned bad, I've heard a lot of uproars lately calling him a scam artist and charlatan, and that it's all a house of cards is going to fall apart. But no way. I'm shocked when they're all saying that he seems very honest. If you listen to anything he says, and also what he's done, I mean, he's shooting rockets into space
Yeah.
better than anyone. That he is honest and true to his long-term mission. I don't think he's corrupted
Yeah.
by everything that's happened to him in any way, which is unusual. I don't know if it's a little more towards the Asperger's that he has,
Mm.
but he's the richest man, and he is the most popular person,
Yeah.
which easily could send someone into a
Into a
narcissist
spiral.
spiral.
Yes.
I think he has some narcissism, but overall, he seems to be a very honest and transparent person, as this person said.
Yeah. Yeah. My take on this is that I think most people, when they find somebody that seems to appeal to their way of thinking, they'll listen to him. They'll listen to him. They may be very excited at certain points, but at some point along that line, they're going to either change their tune, slip up, reveal that they're not as honest or convicted in what they're saying as they come off as, or they may just completely lie about something, you know?
Yeah,
And I think most of the time that seems to occur with politicians, but when you find someone like this who's seemingly doing great things, and you start to dig in, you're expecting to find something like, well, that seems a little off. That seems like slick talk, whatever. Um,
that's right.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with Alex here. I don't know if he's the most because I haven't dug into that many other entrepreneurs to the extent that I have with Elon, but I can't disagree with honest, transparent, and open. Seems that way, and consistent as well in what he says.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think he would be less of a good person in general. I mean, he had many opportunities. He lived in Los Angeles. He was definitely toast of the town for a long time when he sold his original two companies.
Hmm.
But I think he purposely keeps himself very busy to keep himself out of trouble sometimes.
Yeah,
Like his company, he has so many companies. There is children. Uh, he doesn't have
yeah,
time for that. And on top of that, he has what is it, like 7 kids? It's
yeah.
just, I don't think he has time to not be honest, to not to get himself in trouble or to think
That's a
about
good
just
point.
being deceptive.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If he was identified on some beach in the Caribbean or something, what would be the backlash of that? And so he's probably like, "Look, I don't even want to do it because it's just gonna it's gonna hurt my mission in the
That's
long run."
right.
So
That's right.
just
So
keep focused.
yes. I mean, who knows? I mean, he to get to his level, you have to have some. You can't be completely a golden person to be that successful. So
Yeah.
he definitely has crossed lines,
Yes.
but overall he's honest and he's true. He's truthful.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, to your point about there's got to be a flaw. I think he's a little bit cold and can lack empathy. He's focused on getting things done, and may not always have the greatest people skills, but
Yeah, but not for personal gain, just for the bigger good.
yeah. So here we have Eva Fox. In 2021, Tesla vehicles, energy storage, and solar panels enabled its customers to avoid emitting 8.4 million metric tons of CO2. Simple math shows how much better the use of Tesla cars for the environment compared to ICE cars, despite the source of energy for charging. So yeah, I think we touched on this last episode or two ago. But
Yes.
yeah, it's good stat here.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, even though Ford is doing an excellent job, so it seems of catching up, how much of their input is polluting
Hmm.
versus their network. Is it solar powered or is it just part of the grid?
Right, right,
How's that going to work? It's
right.
interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is when you get really passionate Tesla customers and investors who say, there is no competition, competition will not catch up. I think it's because when you really start to dig into some of these types of numbers here, you really realize how difficult it's going to be for an ICE OEM to make this transition fully the way that Tesla is,
Yes.
from the ground up. So I think that's when they get very even more passionate about, like, look, they're years ahead, and the
Mhm.
competition is just words.
I agree.
And this is also linked from Ava Fox, a deeply underestimated figure from the 21 impact report. The solar panels have generated more electricity than has been consumed by all vehicles and factories between 2012 and 2021. Wow, crazy.
It is
Yeah, good stuff.
cool. A great report that came out, so it's worth looking at.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they're doing it is leading the way. Yeah.
Yes, so this is similar that yeah, Tesla Solar made more energy than its cars and factories used from that whole period. So it's just kind of adding on to that what we just said before, but it's amazing.
And I like the line here. So Tesla haters are shorting Earth.
Yeah, I know.
Not a good look, people. Good
Yeah,
look.
yeah, against humanity, against Earth. It's not good.
All right, this
Um,
was yeah.
yeah,
I'll take this one.
yeah. The whole Mars Catalog said no human drivers were harmed in the making of this video. I like that. The Tesla did the drive entirely by itself with zero human input, no accelerator presses, no speed limit changes, nothing. Just totally out there. And then whole Mars Catalog followed up by saying, now riddle me this. If millions of existing cars can already do drives on their own without takeovers at times, what happens in 1 to 2 years from now? Yeah. What will the software be able to do then? I know. I think we've talked about this, that it, like, if you look at 2 years ago versus now, it's just not, it's night and day. And then 2 years from now, 5 years from now, it's just,
I mean, just look at the interface of the screen. It's like fascinating to see the difference. But yeah,
it is fascinating.
I think a lot of Tesla Q / haters will really point the whole Mars Catalog as like, this guy's out of control with his over the top like optimism about it all. But he also curbs that optimism or brings it back down to reality. Like, look, it's not perfect, but it's amazing that it can do what it can. And let's think about 1 to 2 years. Like,
that's what you have to do, is the wider picture. I think with sometimes with this, I think of it was, I guess it was almost 20 years ago when Skype started.
Okay.
Everyone's amazed, like, this is the coolest thing, but you really had to jump through hoops, and it was very glitchy, but it was amazing that you could call anyone in the world over video. It was just, but people were like, it's not really perfect. And now, 15 years later, it's just, everything is just online.
Now it's,
you don't even think about it.
Now it's all like, discussion involves around who's going to lead it. Is it going to be Microsoft Teams, Google, Zoom?
Yeah. And then our kids they're on FaceTime all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, they don't even, it's inconceivable that they can't just like talk to their friend walking around.
Yeah. Across the world.
Across the world. And, 15 years ago, that wasn't there. So it's the same with this, that it's, as he said, at times, so it's definitely not perfect yet, but 15 years from now, exponentially, it just blows my mind at how people don't see it's just going to happen faster than they think.
Yeah. I got to imagine it was like when planes started to get off the ground. They were like,
you're right.
No way I'm ever flying in one of those. Or like it would carry me across the Atlantic or something. Get out of here. So,
in the 1930s, they had all the firsts of going across the Atlantic, right? And then by the 1950s, everyone was taking jetliners across to Europe en masse.
20 years. Wow. Of course, there was a world war in between there. So let's hope that
there was a world war in between there.
So moving on, we have Sawyer Merritt here with an update about Walter Isaacson's work on Elon's biography. We got a New York Times article. They've been making headlines in Elon world lately with their back and forth about, well, do they hate Elon? Do they like him? Who knows what's going on over there? But we just have Sawyer Merritt posting the article and saying that he's writing Elon's authorized biography. And just in the article, there's a few words from Walter Isaacson just about his approach to the biography and the work that's been done, and just his process. And Sawyer Merritt quotes it and says, "I don't think he's as random as he follows himself, or as he allows himself to appear. I think it's much more thought through." And those were from Walter Isaacson. So.
I tend to agree. It seems flippant sometimes, but I think that by the time he posts, it always seems like he just thought of it in the bathroom and posts things. Yeah. But when you look back, even a week later, you're like, oh, okay, he posted that, and now suddenly he's doing this action in a big way. No way. There's no way this wasn't thought through or on his own or discussed with a number of people on the first principles before he posted a comment about it.
Yep.
It's like the line, never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Interesting. Well, it based on the short article, it just sounds like this will be an interesting book, and that Walter Isaacson has really grown some respect and appreciation for Elon and his approach to his businesses. So can't wait for that. I mean, I don't know what the expectation is in terms of timeline. I would imagine it takes a while to they're usually pretty big books from Walter Isaacson. So, but
Yeah,
he said he's interviewed 200 plus people, acquaintances. So he's moving.
he's moving. I'm sure he's a whole team that helps him. So
Hmm.
you never know.
Yeah.
What do we have here? So, this is just nice retrospective. But I thought it was strange how suddenly it was here. But Elon Musk said SpaceX launched NASA astronauts to space for the first time several years
Yeah.
ago. This was breaking news. They just found out, I think. This is a dream come true. This is not something I thought would actually happen. That's what Elon said. So
Hmm.
he was just blown away that they actually did it.
Yeah. Just a little
It's just
flashback here.
amazing. Yeah, he thought he'd get the company to help like improve the technology, but never actually get to the point that they were the ones doing it.
Yeah.
And then a little more SpaceX, that Falcon 9 lifts off. It's 12th time to deploy another batch of Starlinks. So that is real reuse. I mean, the cost of those missions goes down each one that they can reuse it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome. And here's Pranay Patel with Starship, a picture of Starship next to some other recent rockets. It's not only the most powerful rocket ever built, but also fully reusable. It'll be truly awe-inspiring to see humanity reach for the stars on board Starship. Yeah, man, this picture was like, my jaw pretty much dropped. I mean, I've seen plenty of pictures of Starship, but like to see the pickup truck at the bottom, it's like, oh my
I
God,
know.
we are literally talking about a skyscraper going up into the air.
Yes. And those other, the other ships here next to Starship are their actual payload area is minuscule. I
Yeah,
mean,
true.
the some of these rockets are almost as big, but the actual usable area, outside of the liftoff portion is nothing.
Mhm.
It's just incredible.
I didn't look at the comments here, but I also am sure that there were plenty about that little Blue Origin rocket down there versus Starship,
I know that's
given
very
the
funny,
competition.
right? Yes.
I think I'm going to quickly go over this one. This is just World of Engineering, identifying the voltage level by number of insulator disks. So Elon liked this, getting into
Yeah, I
his
never knew that.
technical mind. Shibatoshi Nakamoto saying, whatever you do, don't be boring. Unless you're making tunnels, of course. A reference to Boring Company. And then lastly, we just got a few different likes here. History defined with picture of Walt Disney filming on the beach. Of course, great creative mind. Elon liked this. Um, and we got a
Yeah,
golden
1941.
Roman helmet, which Elon said
Yes,
has R2D2 vibes.
does.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's pretty crazy looking.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Eli David saying, Elon, can you buy the WHO back from Bill Gates and make it about health?
I like how he says that Bill Gates owns the Who. It's very funny.
Yeah,
Uh, it's funny.
wild. And
Speaking of, for any fans out there, they announced a new Doctor Who yesterday.
yeah,
Big
yeah, I saw that
news.
headline. Yes. Who?
Who?
All right. I think this is about the last one, but this one gets into real technical weeds that I had not looked through yet. But scientists propose a brilliant idea producing rocket fuel on Mars using algae and E. coli. This is World of Science. And Elon says that won't be needed. And he links to um, a Wikipedia profile of Sabatier reaction. Or I guess that guy's name is Sabatier. I don't know. Again, need to read up on this, but I think he's got
Yeah,
different plans for how to um, fuel the rockets back from Mars, U.S.
interesting. I have to read that.
Yeah, to dive in.
Dive it in. Sounds good.
Um, how about we leave it on this? We did have one note here from Hiro Mizuno about two differing articles from CNET, um, where in one article they said that um, Tesla's yoke steering wheel is potentially dangerous. And then in another article, they said the Lexus yoke steering wheel is funky, but ultimately really fun. So just some mixed up opinions there
Yeah,
from
two different
publication.
views of the same thing.
And we'll end it on an optimistic, inspirational note. If you don't make stuff, there is no stuff. From Elon, got a picture of him here. So
Deep thought. That seems like a Yogi Berra quote.
yeah, exactly. But it's true, just like Yogi Berra stuff.
True. That's right.
So yeah, that'll wrap it up for May 9th, Monday. I got to roll out here, go get the boy from school.
All right.
So,
Sounds good. We will see you tomorrow.
Yes. Catch
For more
up then for everything that Elon said. Thanks.
Bye.